Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm AK Eagles. Welcome to the AK Eagles podcast. Please hit that like button on your way in. Appreciate you guys on the road to 1K. Please hit that subscribe button also. But we're here to talk about it. Jalen Reagor. Really? Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the AK Eagles podcast. I'm joined with a few special guests of mine and maybe a little bit more here. It all depends on if some other people join. But yeah, man, we're coming on here today to talk about undervalued and overvalued. You know, we got some players on our teams and all across the NFL, you know, who are overvalued and undervalued. And, you know, the very first one I'm going to start with, man, and it really ruffles my feathers every time, is Jalen Reagor, dude. Like, I saw the tweets yesterday. I heard the people talking, you know, oh, this kid, he's out here and he's balling and he's making catches and this and that. Same song, same dance. That's exactly what the hell I heard last year, all year long during training camp, how this kid is just balling out and having a good day here and there. And, man, I'll tell you what, he got 300, less than 300 yards. He had 299. I'm not falling for it a second time, guys. Listen, that's overhyped in my opinion. I know I'm probably the toughest person on Jalen Reagor, man, but wide receiver has always been a thing for us, and we always want to see production from there, and we've always undervalued the wide receiver position as Eagle fans, or as an Eagle franchise, I mean. So, you know, when we get good people, we expect them to be good, and when you draft them high, you expect them to be even better. And he has not lived up to that reputation, and I don't expect he ever will. And that's just my opinion on the kid, you know. Uh, what do you say about that, Mitch?
Can we see it on the field when it actually matters? Because in training camp yesterday, he went past Zach McPherson. Okay, good for you on a 70-yard bomb. Nice throw by Jalen Hurts. I'll give you credit there. Come on, it's practice, man. I'm getting tired of all this hype. And then watch that they don't perform just like last year. I can't wait for that, actually, just to see their face and be like, yeah, Reagor's still a bum. Reagor's still going to be a bum. Even though he took the first, he's a punt return guy apparently now. And I'm like, after what I saw last year, nope, sorry, nope, muffle punch and that crap. No, get out of here.
Yeah. Well, well, and Jeff, I brought you on because you are an NFC opponent. You have faced Jalen Rager times last year. You know, let's be honest, dog. You know him just probably as well as we do from watching him play against you. Is he a threat to you? Do you feel him being a threat?
I mean, I'm just gonna be dead honest right now with this whole everything that's going on with Rager and everybody that's getting excited. It's no problem with being excited. So before everybody gets the pitchforks out and wants like come take us over and like burn us alive or something, it's hype season right now. We're all hyped because football is back. And in terms of Jalen Rager and what he's doing in camp right now for the Eagles, this guy has to show up because he's playing pretty much for a roster spot with the Eagles. So he has to come out there and he has to show that he still can have some type of value to this team. He's not going to go out there and just suck ass, because if he does, the Eagles will just get rid of him and they'll just move on for him immediately. What's going on, Adam?
What's up,
But
Adam?
Jalen Rager is pretty much he's the type of guy right now that's going to show he shows out, but he has no substance when it comes to the regular season. And that's the problem what you have with a lot of guys right now when it comes to training camp and even in some degree preseason. All these guys are pretty much right now trying to play for positioning, and they're trying to play for what role they're going to have on a team.
It's in our chat, dude.
That's pretty much it. Jalen Rager is trying to play for his Eagles' future. He knows for a fact that they have a Quez Watkins here right now who looks like he's pretty much locked down for that third receiver spot. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you know they're the number 1 and 2 over there with the Eagles. Zach Pascal looks like he's going to be the possessional receiver. Jalen Rager right now looks like he's on the outside looking in with this team. He's going to go out there and try to do whatever he can, play as good as he can against backups, second team, maybe even get occasional some first team snaps to try to be able to show what he can do and prove to this Eagle brass, especially a guy like Howie Roseman who drafted him in the first round in 2019 or 20, that he's going to have a chance to make this team going forward. I don't get the hype. The guy's done nothing so far in the NFL except drop passes, not run routes correctly, not stay healthy, frustrate the hell out of Eagles fans. Giant fans, we have guys similar to that in our roster. But Jalen Rager right now is all hype in training camp until he goes out there, if he's still with the team, and proves it on game day when the season kicks off on September 11th.
Welcome, Adam. Appreciate you for coming in, bro.
Yo, what up, bro?
What's up, Adam?
Thank you for having me. You guys came on yesterday, so I thought I'd jump on for a few here.
Yeah, you put me in timeout yesterday.
You deserved it, man. You deserved it. Okay.
I got to say this, man. The reason that I bring this up is, I was watching some John and Jody Mack this morning, and they were talking about Jalen Hurts. And this is where the overvalue, undervalue comes in handy. They were both talking about Jalen Hurts, and they were talking about Tua Tagovailoa. And they said, no doubt in their mind, Jalen Hurts is done after this year. He is not the guy, nowhere near it. He will not be going forward with us. And honestly, Jody Mack, he made the comment. He said that Tua is going to be an all-star. And whenever I heard that, I was like, and then when you get the Jalen Rager praise yesterday, I was like, so we've come to the conclusion the guy that badmouths our fans and punches back when he gets talked bad about and doesn't put in enough time and effort like all these other dudes, and he takes his position for granted and he plays like shit, is going to be high praised and said, oh, he's looking great. But then you also have our quarterback who works 10 times harder than this man, who tries to be the best that he can be in every single level. And you're going to sit there and say he has no chance. You get what I'm saying?
Jody Mack's an ass. So
I know, but that's kind of what pisses me off about the media and stuff like that, because those comments right there, man, that is.
Well, that's blind research right there. That's a guy that's just saying something to say something, and that's what I don't like to do when I have any broadcast than what I've learned from WFAN, because Jody Mack's dumbass is also in WFAN up here in New York, spewing his nonsense. Okay,
Yeah, he sucks. I hate hearing him.
you know, he just sounds like a curmudgeonly old man. I'm like, all right, Jody, like, get over yourself, right? I gotta suck. You're like, shut up, bro. You don't like being on the radio? Shut up, right? But anyways, what I'm saying is, like, sometimes that's why I have to research. That's why I don't talk out of my I listen to what you guys say. Take other people who are doing Eagles podcasts and things like that, and get the information and aggregate it. So then when you talk about something, you kind of have an educated guess. Is it fully right? No. Will everyone agree with you? Probably not. But at least they're going to respect that you've researched and done your homework. Jody Mack, you can't tell me that Jalen Reagor is even a good player, because that guy, I'm a Giant fan. I know that guy sucks. Okay, you know, I'm a Giant fan. I don't need to. I play you guys twice a year, and I hear it how bad he is. I see it of how bad he is. I saw him in games in the playoffs, and because I was in the Eagle country down here, I saw him drop passes. He's like Evan Ingram, right? And this is why I talk about status. Remember we talked about status yesterday. You draft a guy a certain round, you got to keep him. This is what Jalen Reagor is. He's a first round pick, and they don't want to be like, well, you know, fuck this guy right now. If he was a 5th round pick, that guy would have been out the door last year.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Been gone a couple of years ago.
And I think this is where we need to tell Roger Goodell and the rest of the owners, like what AK said yesterday, get rid of your mistakes. We'll be able to respect you making a mistake and saying, all right, we failed on this guy, trade him, and not worrying about, like, hey, Jalen Reagor goes to the Commanders and blows up. Okay, that's fine. You know, he didn't work out here. We don't need to hold him here because we're scared that he might do better somewhere else, or we're scared we're going to look bad because we drafted a first-round pick that's not working out, right? And I get it. It's on your legacy and regime, whatever, but the GMs that don't give a crap are the ones that succeed in this league. The ones that say, all right, well, we're going to give up. We're the Kansas City Chiefs. We gave you two years. You still stink by. See ya. We'll get you some compensation. We'll make those picks something else.
Yeah, no, like, no lie, man. The way I run the team, especially in my way of looking at it, is it does not matter about your hype. It does not matter about your name. It is about how you are on that field, how you run your roster. The best player is going to play. You know what I mean? And it goes from the top to the bottom. If you are the number one player, obviously A.J. Brown separates himself from everyone else. Okay, then Devontae Smith obviously separates himself from everyone else below A.J. Brown and him. But then that third is open. Okay, to me, that third is open, and anyone can have that. And I don't care if it is Allen, or if it is Covey, or if it is Pascal, or if it is Watkins. Whoever the best person is gets that job. I don't care about names. I care about the name on the front, dude. Whatever person makes it easier for us to win ball games deserves to have that spot. And then the one after him, and then the one after him. To me, it's not about draft, because you can get somebody in the 5th that can outplay a 2nd-round pick. You know what I mean? Just because of their. Now, I'm not saying that always happens, obviously. I'm just saying because of their desire inside to be better. Like, for instance, Adam Thielen. He was an undrafted free agent, just walked on to Minnesota and took over that place. You know what I mean? Like, it's about the desire and the drive inside that will make you who you are. And that's my point. So it's got to be the best person, man. It's not about even draft anymore. It's not even about who went where. It's about the best person plays that position.
And I think that's where the NFL and I think a lot of people are losing, is because, like I said, their thinking is, I drafted him in the 1st round, he's got to play, as opposed to the undrafted rookie free agent, like you said, who's outplaying him. I mean, sometimes we see it in the NFL, right? Look at Russell Wilson. He outplayed Matt Flynn that one year when they signed him, and Pete Carroll had the cojones to be like, you know what, I'm going to start the kid over our big free agent acquisition quarterback. And it ended up working out for him in the long run. If Pete Carroll doesn't have those balls, we may not have seen the dynasty of the Seattle Seahawks the same way that we saw it past decade with Russell Wilson. And I think too much is emphasized on winning nowadays and not building the team correctly, where, you get rid of guys because you're worried about winning. So you're trying to get these guys to play and not worrying about building a long-term success story. And that's what the Steelers have done. That's what the Patriots, you hate them. I know people hate them, but that's what they've done. Look at what Tampa Bay is doing. You know, they're losing guys left and right. They have no depth players right now. So now they're scurrying to get guys in behind Ryan Jensen and Tristan Wirfs and things like that because, oh, my God, we have nobody. Because they're so top-heavy with free agency. If you build your guys up, you're supposed to, and this is how I think of it, I don't know how everyone else does, when you draft a guy, that guy is either going to contribute or replace somebody, right? That's what's supposed to happen. That's why you stagger these contracts because, you know, you draft a guy, okay, you know, we're going to have to pay, you know, Devontae Smith. We have this young guy that we like that just as good as Smith. We will have to make a decision on one of them or the other. Now you either have an asset that you can get rid of or keep or develop. You know what I'm saying? And I think too many people want to get rid of their players. They don't develop their players. And here we are, and that's what you have is top-heavy players or guys you're hanging on to hoping they do well because your legacy's on the line. Sorry, I rambled there.
No, you're not wrong. You know, it is about progression. It is about development. The whole reason for the draft is to be able to take these players and develop them for, like you said, either to replace or to replenish what is there. Haha, Mitch, got him. No, but
You son of a bitch.
but and also they're there to fill a gap short term as well. You know, some of these guys are just filling for the long haul. You know, so but you know, we have our overhyped and underhyped players over here. Is there one that you guys want to talk about on your side? That's maybe too overhyped and underhyped? Jeff, Adam?
All right. Before they answer, guys, I just want to say if you haven't liked the stream on Hardcore Sports yet, I highly encourage you that you guys do. We have 5 likes over there right now. Let's get there to 10. If you haven't yet, subscribe to Hardcore Sports. I will put the link in the chat.
The link's in the description.
Oh, okay, that's even better. And I'll put it in the chat too. What the hell?
Overhyped guys on the Giants, I wouldn't say there's any per se right now. I will say, though, the hype about Evan Neal right now is starting to wear thin because he's getting beaten by guys who are not good right now. And on the other side, Andrew Thomas is destroying cats, eating them up for breakfast. And I'm like, this is what I'm saying about people need to come in and have expectations set at a certain level. You need to let kids grow. You need to let them make their mistakes. They're going to grow. Like right now, I expect Evan Neal to suck right up until, you know, he plays the Titans. And then you're getting beaten by Kayvon Thibodeau and you're getting beaten by O'Shane Ximines. Those names are not Bud Dupree and Harold Landry, where, you know, we need to – I think the Giants themselves are – you know what? I'm going to take that back. The entire fan base of the Giants kind of overhyping this team. That's what I'll say. Because we're overhyping us. We're excited. Don't get me wrong. I want to be excited. I love the direction that they're headed, the things that they're doing. But I cannot just go, oh, we're going for the playoffs, or we're doing this, we're doing that. Oh, the division's weak. No, man. Listen to NFL Network. Watch what's going on. Everybody's getting better. Everybody. They're loving Carson Wentz over in Washington. They're loving him. They're like, wow, he's the best quarterback we've had here in years. You don't think they're hyped up to play us as well? So I'm just saying we got to temper our expectations going out there. Guys like Evan Neal, I love him, but he's getting baptism by fire right now. You know, he's getting beaten by guys who he should be eating. And it's the same mistake over and over again. They're just doing an inside move. He's stepping to the inside, going right outside around him. We got called for holding just before I came on here. So let's pump the brakes. Let's let this guy develop into the tackle that we want him to be and not put pressure on him to be great out the gate.
Okay, well,
that statement, right? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go, Jeff. I'll wait.
The problem with that statement is if you actually say something that's completely valid, like what you just said, Adam, you're going to get called a hater. You're going to get called, oh, well, you just want this team to suck, blah, 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 blah.
No, I'll take them both.
I don't care. I just got into it with another fan before about it. I don't care at this point. I mean, right now, Daniel Jones and Kenny Galladay are locked in, and they apparently are lighting up at practice. All I have to say is, show it to me on September 11th against the Tennessee Titans. Then I'll be more excited. Same thing with Evan Neal. Evan Neal, one of his biggest problems is he's struggled a little bit when it comes to like the outside rush. He has a little bit of trouble hitting speed rushes on the outside, and that's where the Giants right now, the pass rushers are attacking him, is on the outside when it comes to speed rush. He's going to take some time to learn how to adjust to that, aka what Andrew Thomas had to deal with in his rookie season when he was struggling at times too in the beginning of his career. Offensive linemen sometimes take a little bit of time to get used to the NFL game. So if Evan Neal struggles at the beginning of the season, so be it. Not everybody's going to be like what Rashawn Slater was last year, where he automatically came into the league and was one of the best tackles in his first year of his career. Or same thing with like a Creed Humphrey. It takes some players a little bit of time until they develop. Now, in terms of like the overhyped people, I mean, there's a lot. It's hard for me to say because nobody's really hitting each other yet. I know it's practice now. The pads are on. It's a little bit more hitting and stuff, but I mean, it's practice. Can we please just wait until we get closer to game situations?
Tyrod Taylor has lit a fire under Daniel Jones' ass because Tyrod is.
Taylor has looked better.
He is tearing up the practice field with guys like Darius Slayton, and if that is what Daniel needed, what?
I told you what's going to happen yesterday.
Right, but hey, listen, he's legitimately having a great camp. No one's talking about it because they want to focus on Daniel. But if that is what he's doing this with backups. He's making Darius Slayton look good. I heard he dropped the ball a dime on a backup receiver, and of course the backup receiver drops the ball, but he put a dime on him. He's throwing darts all over the field, and now Daniel's looking like, oh shit, I got to do good because I'll be sitting on the bench because this guy's coming. Tyrod Taylor ain't playing to be a backup. I'm telling you that right now. He knows he could be one of the starting 32. He knows he can be one of the starting 32. He ain't going to sit back and say, hey, Daniel, this is your job. He's going to go out there and make the decision harder for Brian Daboll. Make it so, like AK said, maybe there's a possibility we trade Daniel Jones and get a second-round pick and get something back because we already have Tyrod under contract. So he can then take over the offense, and away we go. We can move up and get our quarterback with that second-round pick. I'm just saying.
Like no lie, bro. Like, no lie. Think of it this way. One, Tyrod Taylor came to the Giants for a reason. I mean, he looked at that roster. Wow, I just totally disappeared. What happened? He looked at that roster, and he saw who your starting quarterback was and says, if I have any chance at all, anywhere, it is right there. Okay? Exactly. And two, if he does force him to trade, that would be interesting because I could really see DJ going to Seattle. If Tyrod would force them to trade DJ before the season.
The thing is, right now, the preseason will help that. But if I'm Daniel Jones, I'm begging Brian Daboll to keep me on the field.
Yeah.
Who cares who backs up? We don't care about that. I don't think you don't think like that. You don't think you can't trade Daniel Jones because you have a backup for Tyrod Taylor. You got to think I can get if Seattle wants to give me a second-round pick for this guy who's doing well, to Daniel Jones right now, but we don't want to sign him long-term. You take that money and you run, and you say, all right, we'll deal with the consequences later. I'm sure they could pick up Jake Fromm or some other bum off the street if they needed to. And by the way, Tyrod Taylor doesn't guarantee you that you're going to be in the playoffs. So if he gets injured, fine. You're going to go get your quarterback anyways and make your move. My point is that the Giants need to acquire assets. And guys that are on expiring contracts, you got to play this like the NBA a little bit. Get rid of them while you can if you're not going to make a run. Like if the Giants are not in the playoffs come trade deadline, you don't just say, well, we're going to keep Daniel to evaluate him. If people are saying we'll give you a third-round pick, fourth-round pick, whatever, you get rid of him and get something, and you'll deal with the consequences later.
And no lie, dude. In all honesty, if you guys end up going like 2-5 going into week 7, I would not be even surprised to see Saquon go on the trade block at that point.
Oh, I think
it's very possible.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of players on this team that the Giants are not a good team, and some of these players are producing, like Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, Kenny Golladay, Dexter Lawrence, maybe if you want to trade him on because he has a fifth-year option. Leonard Williams could be a guy you could try to trade if you think he has.
Listen, I like Leo, man. He's having a lot of players.
I like him too, but maybe they just don't want to pay him the kind of money that he's getting paid right now. I mean, they might want to try to trade him and see whatever kind
I
of
think
first
you'll have a
round
better. I think
draft
you'll have
picks
a
they
better
can get.
chance of trading like a Daniel Jones or a Barkley because of the contract expiring, and they can negotiate whatever in the season. Than trading Leo because Leo right now is gonna like people are gonna be like, oh, I don't want a salary cap. Next year when people have salary cap money, and you decide you want to move on from Leo, that might be a better chance because then people will know how much they have financially. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I could see it happening, but Barkley is more. I think AK
Barkley's
is right.
probably number one on the list. He's probably the
I pray to God. Now listen, I love you guys as content creators. You are my friends, but I pray to God you go 2-5 and you throw Saquon up and we go like 6-1 at that point, and
I
we
agree with that.
from you guys, and
There's no chance in hell
I get
the
to
Giants
see
trade Barkley
Saquon
to
and
the
Miles
Eagles.
Sanders back together, kind of like Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blunt mix, and
Keep
use them
dreaming.
both.
Keep
I
dreaming.
would love to have my Penn State halfbacks, man. That'd be awesome.
You know what? Lay your head on the pillow. Lay your head on the pillow. Get yourself a nice warm drink to drink and have that nice little dream about Saquon Barkley and Miles Sanders in the same backfield because it's never happening.
Jeff, if that happened, would you cry?
I would be happy. What Giant fan would be happy seeing Saquon Barkley in the Eagles' backfield of all
I wouldn't
places?
cry.
No, listen, I'm not saying we would keep either of them at the end of the season, but we would use it to get to the boost that we need offensively in the playoffs to try and do something. But I'm just saying that would be funny as all hell, dude. It really would.
But knowing how he
knows,
he's not going to give us what we want for Barkley, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows.
Oh yeah, no, he wouldn't give you a 1. No, I wouldn't. No. Mm-mm.
No. I mean, you don't. He's
probably gonna
highest
get 2
going to
at
get is a
best.
second round pick.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
look, if you guys are willing to give us a lot for a guy like Barkley, and we can use some of those picks and get ourselves more depth on the offensive line, or get us some more pass rushers, or linebacking help, that's fine.
I'm good. You're right. It is a fantasy, but it would be an awesome fantasy. It really
It'd
would.
be like if you guys trade us Devontae Smith or something.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Don't ever say that again. Never, ever, ever.
I think he's in the penalty box.
It's a dream. It's a dream. It's a fantasy. It's
Never,
something you
ever.
want to think about, but you know it's never going to happen.
Bro, that guy would never go on the trading block, I don't think. Not for a long time, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe when he's 36.
Well, I mean, I agree with what Adam was saying before. If the Giants end up not starting off good, and some of these players that start turning it around, the Giants will sell off some of these players because they're still a team in a rebuild, and they're going to want to try to acquire as many draft picks as possible. It might piss off fans, but why are you trading Barkley? Why are you trading Jones? Why are you trading so-and-so? Because you're trying to get as many assets as you can going into the draft next year to help replenish your roster and bring more depth to that overall team that still has a bunch of weaknesses there that a lot of some fans are just afraid to admit. The linebacking core is a question. The secondary is a question. The interior offensive line is still a question. The wide receivers, even though we like them, there's still a question if they can stay healthy. There's still questions on this team, and if this team does not go out there and get off to a good start, there's going to be a fire sale in New York, and nobody should be shocked by it at all. So Adam's right on that account. What's going on, normal guy?
Yeah, what's going on, Normal? How you doing, man? Oh, and something else that Jordy and John said that, when you look at our QBs, you can truly see no one's competing with Jalen. They were saying even Minshew's having a bad week, for the first couple of times here. And when you make comments like that, but then you automatically say, though, too, that he's not the future, that irritates me. Like we were talking about.
He's a blowhard.
I know, man, but is Tua really that far above Jalen Hurts in your guys' opinion?
Tua?
I know. I know some people praise
Who
Tua
said
more.
that?
Dude, there's some people out there that think Tua is better, far more advanced than Jalen Hurts. I mean, there is
Well,
people.
that's because he was replaced by him in Alabama. So
I know.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I look at Tua and I'm not impressed at all. By the way, I saw they had earrings on. I'm like, wow, Tua's trying to get some swag. You know, he doesn't seem like a guy that
Oh, God.
wore diamonds in his ears. So, you know, listen, Tyreek Hill has that effect on you, I guess, right? You know, my point is, I don't know what Tua is, right? They were trying to ride him out of town last year. And now this year they're bringing in guys to help him out, but he's still not, let's be honest, he's still not considered their guy. Mike McDaniels, if he fails there, oh my God, I saw that guy do an interview. Weirdo.
I know,
But
it's
You
pretty-
see what I mean,
crazy,
all right?
Adam?
You see what I
Crazy,
mean?
right,
All
Adam?
right, cool.
My guy, I'm looking at him. He was like the Yeezys. It should be a national holiday. I'm like, yo, bro, you are that dude that is in someone's basement, you know, trying to get people in a chat room to come over and hang out with you. Like you're that guy, bro. But no, if he fails his first year, right, which I don't expect him to be bad, but he could be middle of the road, 7-10, whatever, right? I could see them getting rid of Tua and trading up and getting a quarterback if they're in that realm. So for me, Tua's not this big. I never liked him coming out of college. I didn't think he was this when he came in that national title game, whenever that was. I guess it was freshman year or whatever. And he drove Alabama down and scored the touchdown and won. The next year they didn't do much. Then the year after that he didn't do much. And then coming out he broke his hip, right, which I think changed everything about him when he broke his hip. He couldn't lift properly. He couldn't do anything that he needs to do. Now, I think Jalen Hurts has looked better than him. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be, you know, homer to the Eagles or anything like that, but I just think what I've seen out of Tua, I've seen more potential in Jalen Hurts.
Well, I mean, Jalen Hurts is the youngest quarterback to ever start a playoff game ever.
There's
He,
that.
he is the first quarterback to have 4,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards. And
I think Jalen Hurts is going to surprise this year. I really do. I think people are. I just think something about him is like he left Alabama, went to Oklahoma. They were still a decent team at Oklahoma, right? You know, he goes to the Eagles. He gets thrust in there in most awkward situation ever, right? He gets thrust in there. He's doing good. They're about to win. He throws an underthrown pass, which should have been a touchdown, but he's a rookie that year in the game. And then, of course, Peterson pulls him because of whatever reason Peterson was doing. I won't ask. I don't care. And quite frankly, Giant fans got fool's gold, myself, because we're like, oh, fuck the Eagles and the integrity. But you know what? Joe Judge is a loon anyway, so I don't believe in him. So he comes in the next year with a quarterback coach now, the Nick Sirianni, and they changed the offense around. And they're like, yo, you're not ready to throw the football yet. Let's run the ball and develop you as a passer running the football. Now this year, I feel like the reins are off this kid. They're going to let him pass. They're going to let him be more of the passer, the dynamic passer that he was. I think last year he still had the developmental phase. It was his first full year starting, right? He still hadn't seen everything a defense could throw at him. Now he played 17 games, plus his rookie year games, plus he went to the playoffs. That's invaluable experience you can give a kid at this age who's just maturing mentally, right? You got to give guys credit. You got to give them time to I was 22, 21. I'm not sitting there reading the playbook. I'm going out trying to scheme on women. You know what I'm saying? I'm going out doing this, doing that. I don't blame them for, if that's what Jalen Hurts is trying to do. And now, now that he's in and there's more commitment being talked about to him, maybe now he takes more of an emphasis on his craft, knowing that he can play in the NFL, right? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, no, and I understand, man. I do. And I think some people fail to realize that as well. Like, this kid is only 23 years old. He's still younger than some of the guys that are coming out in the draft this past year. You know what I mean? Like, he's still young, man. He was only 22 last year. Like, 22. Huh?
He's still a quarterback that's in the middle of his developmental game.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, no lie. 22 is still a baby in the NFL. Like, let's be honest. That's really freaking young, dude. 23 is really, really young. Like, he's still a baby. And how old was Zach Wilson? 25 last year when he came out? 24? Something like that? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's still younger than half of the dudes still coming out. That's insane, man.
He's a raw prospect right now, Jalen Hurts, who's still trying to refine.
Zach
the rest of
Wilson
his
is
football
23.
game. I mean, there's
To
still some
explain
holes to Jalen Hurts' game.
Explain what happened in 2017, 2020 we needed to tank to get 7 overall pick in the first round because we won the game. Who knows? We probably wouldn't have had Devontae Smith. Yeah, no, it was definitely a tank job for a better draft pick. We all knew that. I think New York Giant fans knew that too. It was. How can I say it? It was disrespectful from a football side, but it was very, very fucking smart from a business side. Is that right to say? Man, y'all are
Yeah,
not.
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
What is wrong with y'all?
What's
Yo,
wrong?
Jordy, what's
Sorry,
good?
I was gonna throw a joke.
I mean, this is
I can
what
I can
feel
agree
about
with I can agree with that. There, it's not the most prettiest thing to do, but if you know that you're going to move up a few spots in the draft and you want a guy, it's easy to make that trade, right? With those spots, they went to 6, and then guess what? They traded out of 6, and the Dolphins came up and got their guy, and then you traded back in. So you got that. You got what you wanted. You got the flexibility and maneuverability that you could do up and down the board, and you were able to acquire more picks this year to then do what? Have a backup plan in case your boy don't work out, right? In case Jalen Hurts don't work out, you got 2 first-round picks this year in this draft to be like, oh, well, we can move up and get whatever we want. Now, if he pans out, you're going to look like a genius for that move. I guarantee you, if Jalen Hurts works out, Eagle fans will be like, that was the best move Harry Roseman could have ever done, was putting the pressure on Doug Peterson. Giant fans, we shouldn't say shit because our coach isn't even here who was giving those, gaslighting us about like, I wouldn't do that. Motherfucker, you ran a 3rd and 9 the next year. Okay? Give me a break.
Oh shit! What were you gonna say?
Yeah. I mean, how can I just beat what Adam just said? He's right when it comes to the Eagles. I mean, he's right when it comes about the Eagles. I mean, you guys are put in a perfect situation where you have the draft capital right now where if Jalen Hurts doesn't work out, you just take those draft picks, and if you really want to get one of those quarterbacks, you trade up and you get one of those guys. Jalen Hurts works out, guess what? You still have those draft picks, and you can use those to build around Jalen Hurts and around the rest of the team. So it's like, as much as like Giants fans get on Daniel Jones, which is warranted, if the guy works out, you solve half the problem. You got yourself a potential quarterback. For the Eagles, it's even better. Jalen Hurts works out and actually turns out to be a good quarterback. It's half the problem that's solved for you guys, and you have those draft picks that are right there for you guys to help improve your team in the weaker areas on your roster. So the Eagles are set up for a good position right now going forward. If Jalen Hurts works out or if he doesn't, either way, you guys are set up very well for 2023 in terms of the draft picks.
In all honesty, man, I think he's going to work out. There's nothing that tells me that he's not going to. I will be very surprised if this kid comes out here and fails. And that's my honest opinion on that. Like, if Jalen Hurts fails, I did not see it coming. Like, I know there's people out there who question him, but listen, man, there's other things in his arsenal that he has that can keep him at the top of his game. He doesn't always need to be that deep threat bomb guy, So I'm not worried about him. As long as he plays smart and he's consistent, we'll be good. And you're right, the draft capital for next year that we have, if he works out, is fantastic. 2 first-round picks. You can still keep going with this team and making them more awesome. I don't even want to even think about the possibility that he doesn't work out. Because if he does, the future's bright.
I mean, if he doesn't work, if he works out, and let's say Jalen Hurts ends up being your quarterback, what the weakest parts of your team? Would you say like one of your weakest parts is depth at cornerback, some linebacker help, safety help, maybe another receiver, running back is a potential hole for you guys because you know what Miles Sanders is if you don't trust Gainwell. You could use a couple of those picks, and you could get yourself whatever prime running back is coming out this year, safety that's coming out this year. You want to get yourself a young quarterback to build around with Slay and Bradbury eventually. They're getting up there in age. Halfback. You have another linebacker. You could use those draft picks if Jalen Hurts works out, and that's what every team, as much as we don't love our quarterbacks, we should hope they work out because it solves half the battle when it comes to your roster because you could use some of that draft capital and try to build around the other holes that you have on the roster. Of course, you want to try to make sure that your quarterback ends up being the right guy and he's not just somebody that has a good year and then he ends up being fool's gold. Because we've seen that a whole lot too, where a guy ends up just having a really good year because the pressure on him to maybe get that max deal or maybe just get the franchise tag and then ends up just being fool's gold and you look like a fool in the end. So, I mean, if Jalen Hurts works out, the Eagles are in good position, plain and simple.
Let me ask you guys something.
On BLSG, yes, we do. We do have YouTube channels, if you're curious. Mine is right here, and Adam's as well. That's our YouTube
Adam's
channel.
is spelled out, though. Adam Koska.
Adam Costas for him, and mine is MYG20, JeffyT 3285.
Yeah.
So before I head out, because I got a quick meeting real quick, I just want to ask the Giants guys this. How many touchdowns do you think realistically Jalen Hurts can throw? Is it definitely more than 16? Like, if so, how much?
I think he get there at least 25 touchdowns.
You got 25? Wow.
I got.
like
If you need your quarterback if you want a good quarterback, he has to be plus 20 in touchdowns. That's just my barometer for a starter. And in this league, and honestly, that probably needs to be recalibrated because that was like in the 1990s, right? Right now, in this NFL, you should be throwing at least 25 touchdowns. With the way the game is played right now, if you're not throwing 25 plus touchdowns, there's something wrong with you.
Okay, because I got 23, honestly. I think 23 will be good.
Well, how many rushing touchdowns are you going to add? Because I'll factor in that too as a touchdown.
For rushing touchdowns, I got 7, 8.
Okay, so 30 overall touchdowns he gives you. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good year.
Yeah, 7, 8.
See, the difference between a guy like Jalen Hurts and a Daniel Jones is that Hurts is going to make up the difference of touchdowns with his running, right? Daniel, I need him to throw at least 25 because that's what Daniel does. His strength is throwing the football. Jalen Hurts, while I expect 25 as a thrower, if you're going to tell me that he's going to give me 7 as a runner as well and give me my overall total of touchdowns of 30, then I'll take that as well.
I got 30. People told me that I have it too low. People told me 40. And I'm like,
40.
Yeah, what planet are you on, buddy?
That's a lot. I mean, you're going to have the ball a lot if you're throwing 40 touchdowns, man.
Yeah. And honestly, I told this before. I think I told this the further I am. I have Kenneth Gainwell more carries than Miles Sanders this year. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm not sure. But I feel like Kenneth Gainwell's he's going in the right direction. And we all know with Miles Sanders, health-wise, I'm not putting that into I'm just, I got Gainwell. If it were me, I would have Gainwell, keep on going up. Whereas Miles Sanders rookie contract year. So for me, I got Gainwell having more carries. You can say that's a hot take or whatever you want, but I got Gainwell. More carries.
I'll let you hit that one first. Go ahead, Adam.
I don't. Kenneth Gainwell is. I think he'll have a good season. I don't know if he's going to make the numbers that you're talking about, but I think he'll be. I think he'll be all right. For what you guys are going to do. I mean, listen, the Eagles have an advantage right now because they have dual threat at quarterback.
I'll be right back.
And they have a dual threat type of offense. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And sorry about it.
No, you're good, bud.
My bad. My StreamYard was just acting up before, so that's why I had to disconnect earlier.
The point is that you want to have Gainwell have a big yardage because it's going to help with Jalen Hurts, right? You want him to be a good back because a good back helps out a suspect quarterback if he is suspect. Look at Dak Prescott, right? Dak Prescott doesn't exist without Ezekiel Elliott. And I told that to Cowboy fans early on. I said, they're like, oh, this is Dak's day. I said, no, Ezekiel Elliott is your man. Now, Dak has come into his own over the course of the last 3 seasons where he's thrown for damn near 5,000 yards. But if he didn't have Ezekiel Elliott to rely on, because if you look at Dak's numbers, he had 20 touchdowns and 4 rushing touchdowns. So he was at a total of 24 touchdowns. If you can have Jalen Hurts rely on somebody where he doesn't have to be the guy or the short yardage plays get good because your running game is going, then that's what you do. That's gravy, man.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I listen, man. Kenny Gainwell for me, that one's tough because I've always questioned if he can be a 3-down back. I know he's athletic. I know what he can do, but I don't know. I mean, I've always seen him more as the Darren
Is he
Sproles.
good picking up the blitz? And when
Do
it
you
comes
need
to
to have a 3-down back?
pass
I mean, you
blocking?
have Miles Sanders there as
No,
well.
I know, but I'm saying like I've seen him more. I've seen him more as in the Darren Sproles role, like the scat back, like the guy that will pick up. He's your little mini fast dude. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I respect him for what he can do, but I like my main halfbacks to be like a Le'Veon Bell or a Miles Sanders type back, or even a McCoy back. You know, Gainwell, he's great for what he is, but that's what we got to use him like. You know, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to judge him. Like
Well,
he's
you know what? You gotta take the words that you said. Play the best player. So if he's your best runner,
for
right,
sure.
and he's
I don't know.
doing the best things, then play him. I know he's only 5'9", 201 or something like that. He's probably bigger than that now, but I don't worry about running backs' heights and stature, so to speak. I wonder if you can do two things: catch the ball in the backfield and block. Right? If you can do those two things, you're on the field for me, because running the football is going to be easy, especially when you have a line that predominantly was a good run blocking line last year. And not to mention he has 4.4 speed. I see what you're saying in terms of him being 5'9", being a scat back and Darren Sproles type, but you don't sleep on those guys, because you know guy like Michael Burner Turner, they didn't think he could play. He went to Atlanta and tore it up, right? So let Gainwell play, let the best back go. And I think it's going to be a back by committee anyways in Philadelphia. I think it's going to be about situation and who you play. For example, if Gainwell gives you a better advantage in the passing game against the Giants, who have no linebackers, well, yes, guess what? I'm going to play Gainwell, right? If the game against the Cowboys, Miles Sanders, who's a little bit of a heavier back, gives you a better chance against that team who might be a little bigger, then that's who you use. I think that's what Sirianni is going to do, because your coaching
You
staff,
can play the guy the hot hand pretty much.
right? Your
That's the
coaching
guy that
staff
gets
seems to
you in
adapt more to the game than any other coaching I've seen, right? Most people are just like, screw this, we're running this, it's going to work. I know it's going to work. It's the players that are sucking. You're like, well, if they're going to make us run the football, we're going to just run to our strength. Like, you went to your strength. It wasn't, and I know people laugh at Sirianni because of the things they said about Flowers and all that shit, but if you look at it, he bloomed himself. He blossomed himself, because as a play caller, he could have been like every other coach who says, you know what, Jalen Hurst, we're going to keep throwing the football, even though you're not doing well right now. We're going to keep doing it. Instead, he was like, you know what? We're going to trade, do our running game, and boom, it blew up.
That's when the Eagles started. That's when the Eagles started to catch fire. Is when they were able to start running the ball consistently, and it helped play up and helped out Jalen Hurts when it came to
That's
his
only
game.
going to make you better. That's only going to make you better. People will forget the running game is very important, especially with these young quarterbacks. Why? Because you can do so many different things. Play action. I mean, everyone wants to do RPO. Fuck RPO, okay? That's how you get your quarterbacks hurt. It's true. You run an RPO, the linebacker's coming over there, like Blake Martinez, who hasn't played in a while, goes and Jalen Hurst, who he saw last week, stood up if he did a little shoulder dip. Maybe Jalen Hurst says, I'm going to stand up now. And Blake Martinez gets a little angry. Maybe, they put pepper on his eggs before the game, right? So he's a little saltier than he normally would be. And boom, he knocks out Jalen Hurst, gets him, a bruised ribs or whatever, because you want to be cute and run an RPO.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I do. But hey, another
The
thing.
running game always helps out a young quarterback. If you can run the ball consistently, it's going to make it easier on your quarterback playing the football.
No, and 100%. And in all honesty, man, that's the one thing we asked for last year, and we got it finally. It took a little bit. It took like 7 weeks, but we finally got it.
We're
But
still looking for it, by the way.
you'll get there, man. The only thing that you guys lack that we have is a Stoutland. I mean, let's be honest. Stoutland is what makes our offensive line tick, dude. He's probably the best offensive line coach ever. Like, in my opinion, he is. Because he turned Mailata, a dude who's never touched a football in his entire life, a 7th-round pick, in 3 years into an all-star. I mean, that takes talent. You know what I mean?
Well, that's also the player himself. You know, he
Sure.
put in the work. You know what I mean? I think we forget. We put a lot of emphasis on the coaches, but the players also, I feel, need to do certain things. Like, I know we're talking about practice right now, and Daniel Jones is lining it up and everything like that. But am I really happy that he's lining up? Good, he's lining up. I'm happy that he's doing okay. But again, like Jeff says, 9/11 is coming, and that's what will be the true test of when the Evan Neals of the world, who give up a play to Bud Dupree, comes around the corner. By the way, those 9-for-9s that he's doing, we don't know how many of those are called sacks. You know what I mean? In practice, that they have to. Again, I keep telling you, they continue to play because they want to see the play executed on the back end, right? So
Exactly.
if a guy gets in and makes a sack or disrupts it, the quarterback's not moving right now. He's not moving because he knows he's not going to get hit. Well, guess what? The Titans are going to hit you. They're going to be like, all right, here we are. Let me come around this corner and find out if you really can throw the ball 9-for-9. If you really have matured, because that's what they're going to do. Daniel Jones is going to be tested in every situation. So while I'm glad that he's coming out of his rough shell, the guy that I believe can do it is Tyrod Taylor, because I've seen him do it week in and week out, day in and day out, play in and play out, right? Even though he's been injured, he's took teams to the playoffs.
Guys,
Bad
let's
teams, mind you.
let's just be honest too. I mean, it's hype season. Every single fan base right now is hyped up because of the fact that
And you gotta be.
NFL is
You
back.
gotta be.
It's NFL's back. We're all excited. We can't wait to watch our teams. We're just excited
Damn right.
to see people out there and like making plays, running routes, offensive line blocking. It's hype season. Everybody's going to get a little carried away when it comes to little things. Like when they see Daniel Jones making a nice pass to Kenny Golladay, he makes a nice catch, or Tony doing what he does, Barkley running up the middle, or for the Eagles, like you see Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown making catches, James Bradbury locking people down, as well as Darius Slay. Everybody's excited with every single fan base because we're just excited to see football back, and we all have that optimistic feel that our team, because it's the NFL, can possibly turn it around and become like a Cincinnati Bengals of this year. But we all have to keep our reservations down a little bit because there's injuries that are starting to happen now. How do you think the Broncos feel right now? They just lost one of their best receivers. Tim Patrick just tore his ACL yesterday. You have to think about that too. Injuries could cripple a team. The Bucs are still trying to scramble, trying to find a center right now that's going to replace their all-pro, Ryan Jensen.
I think
So
they
you gotta
know
think
who's
about
coming in. I think they know who's coming in. But I like to call this season the March for the Lombardi, because everybody is doing the same march. Everybody's coming in doing the same dance. It won't matter until the games are playing, because that's when the cream will rise to the top, right? We've seen this, and this is why I said we've seen this song and dance a lot with players, especially in New York, the last 6 years. Right? We've had two coaching staffs in how many seasons? McAdoo. We're like, oh man, McAdoo's offense was great. He's going to be so great. He went to the playoffs. Woohoo! Then we have Pat Shermer coming. Oh, he's an adult in the room. Blah, 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 blah. 2 years later, Joe Judge, rah, sis, Goomba, run through a wall. Okay? He was there rolling around the mud with his players in the water. Oh my God, he really gets it. He's playing fumble drills with the players. I've never seen this at training camp. This is a great direction. Give me an effing break. Okay.
Wait, Adam, what was that again? It's what? Right?
That's what it is. It's a fart. It's a fart. Okay? Because at the end of the day, we have a coach with no experience going in, right? Who we're all hyped about because he did something with a quarterback named Josh Allen. We forget this. That Bills team is built. They were built and stacked the right way. That's why they are consistently winning right now. Why? Because Sean McDermott came in and is not an idiot, okay? And then we also had Tyrod Taylor there. They went to the playoffs. They built a foundation. They said, you know what, Tyrod? We love you, but we're going to draft a quarterback here. They got Josh Allen, who, by the way, everybody hated from Wyoming except for this guy. I was like, he played for Wyoming. How bad could he really be, right? So he goes out, has a decent rookie year. Second year, you see the progress. And then third year, he blows up, right? Yeah. It took that build-up to get there. Here we are, a guy who's not done anything, coming from a 4-13 team who, I don't know, I guess we were a fake 4-13 team. I guess our record was a lie because, now we have delusions of grandeur of making the playoffs. With what? With what team? With what players? One injury goes down in the offensive line, and this whole season is a tank job.
I think that's inspired by the coaches you brought in, honestly.
It's the new Adam. It's the new regime syndrome.
But
The new
I
regime
get
comes
that.
in,
I get
and
that.
everybody
I get
gets
to be
hyped.
excited. I understand about being excited, but don't try to be like, oh, this guy's going to playoffs when he hasn't done shit. If this is Brian Flores, I can be like, all right, you know what? I can see that guy because he made chicken soup out of chicken shit in Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, and his owner was trying to tell him to lose, and he said, "F his owner. I'm going to try to win ball games. Otherwise, I'm never going to be a coach in this league again." Right? So, if Brian Flores came over, my expectation levels are far different than they are with Brian Dable. Brian Dable, I'm like, all right, if you're going to be here 3 years, I don't want the same fucking fate to happen to you with Joe Judge, where we get overexcited and overhyped. We're throwing parades down the Canyon of Heroes because you won 7 games. And then the next year you come out and completely crap the bed because injuries, tougher schedule, and all that shit happens. And then we're contemplating firing you again. Why don't you just do it the right way? Don't care about what the record is. Punt this season and just say, we're going to just do the best we can. If
Fans
we lose,
won't do that. Fans
right?
will never punt a season. They think that's like sacrilegious if you punt a football season because we always want to go in there and expect the team to win. I have no problem, and like you as well.
I'm
I
not
agree with
saying
you
not
100%.
win. I'm not saying
but
not
I
win.
agree. I get what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. Like, we have to think about the longevity of this team, and it's not just about 2000. That's where a lot of the fans are getting misconstrued with, like, some of the things that we're saying, is that it's not just about the 2022 season. It's about
Right.
2022 and beyond, where you're
Look
still
at the
trying to
Eagles.
build a team up.
Look at the Eagles what they did with Doug Peterson, right? They built up their
Exactly.
defense. They built up their defense. They brought in Doug Peterson. They drafted the quarterback that they wanted. They built the team around him and kept building the defense. Guess what? In 2017, they were absolutely gagas. That guy, Carson Wentz, like him or not, was MVP of the year. If he stays healthy, he's going to be MVP. He's probably going to be MVP of the Super Bowl and hosting a Lombardi, and he's still with the Eagles. But, you know, circumstances happen. If they don't have Nick Foles and that coach and that defense, they don't win that Super Bowl. That they don't win that team. They built it up. And look, they still have a team now. Even when you strip it down, they still got guys. They're still drafting well. And even though, you know, they have Fletcher Cox and, you know, Werner Hargraves and some older guys, you can see Jordan Davis is dominating. You can see Jacoby Dean's coming in. We're like, uh-oh, what's happening here? That's
Look at their offensive line. Their offensive line has got players.
Years.
You guys are
Lane Johnson that's going to –
Come on, stop.
Like Lane
Oh,
Johnson
we're
might
making you
retire
smile.
soon.
I'm sorry.
You
We're
have
making you blush.
Driscoll.
I'm sorry.
You have Jason Kelsey who might retire soon. They just drafted a kid who they think Juergens is going to be the next good center on that team. They have Dickerson who had to move over to guard who's pretty good. They had a 7th-round pick who they turned into a Pro Bowler with Mailata. Their team is good when it comes to the places where you need to be good, and that's the offensive and defensive line. And now they're actually starting to get now they're starting to get strength when it comes to the secondary and when it comes to the wide receiver position, which they've struggled to do for years. So,
By the way, thank you for the secondary, my guy. So they said this morning that on that channel too. One thing I did like that they did say is I guess Smith beat Bradbury on one of those one-on-one deep routes. That next play he comes back and Bradbury just stones him at the line. Literally doesn't even let him get a yard. He said, honestly, he's like, my most standout player for the first week of camp was Bradbury. They're
you're
like,
going to get a good player in Bradbury.
You're welcome.
like he is such an improvement over the corners we've had. Even Nelson, they were like, in fact, you know, the last 6 years before we got Slay, we were begging for a corner. He's like, he could have easily been our number one then. He's like, so, dude, he's like, expect a lot from this TV core this year. He's
if you make it healthy, right, and knock on wood that everybody remains healthy, he's one of the reasons why I picked the Eagles to do well, because that secondary, you're not going to have to worry about getting beat deep because, you know, Bradbury's going to play assignment sound football. He's not flashy, don't get me wrong, but the guy is in the right place at the right time. I had no problem with him. He played. I mean, everyone's like, oh my God, it was terrible his first year. Well, you know, he's a press corner, and you're putting in zone 15 yards off the ball. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to turn around and catch the football. He didn't play necessarily bad. The scheme didn't fit what he was doing at the beginning of the year. He still ended up with 3 interceptions. He still ended up shutting down the field. And because the only reason he's gone is because of a cap number. Adoree Jackson is stepping up, but I'd rather have Bradbury than Aaron Robinson, and that's why I think it's going to make your defense better. Is Bradbury comes in, Jacoby Dean comes in, and you got Jordan Davis, who's not going to be expected to be a starter right out the gate. All that defensive coordinator needs to do to Jordan Davis is whisper in his ear, create havoc. That's all you have to tell him.
Exactly.
Go there and be a disruptor. I don't care what you do. Be a bowling ball in there. Knock linemen in their ass so that when Saquon Barkley is trying to run and his freaking guard is on his ass and he's trying to figure out where to go, that's what you want Jordan Davis to do. And then Nakobe Dean comes in and cleans up the mess. That's how it's going to work out.
Everybody was getting on Nakobe Dean too because he had all those injury issues. If that kid is right, you got yourself a good player at that linebacker.
I think that was bullshit. I really do. Because
That's what they're planning on doing. They're planning on using Jordan Davis because, in all honesty, man, I've been wanting somebody in the middle. And listen, Fletch has done a fabulous job over the years, but let's be honest, Jordan Davis is going to have a much longer effect, like width-wise, than what Fletch did. Like this kid is a complete meltdown in the middle. You're not going to be able to go in the middle. Like he will have that so shut down it's not even funny.
And
you know,
the pass rush is better too. You got Hassan Reddick who had a great season last year. Josh Sweat is going to probably. You mean it's going to be a shock if he takes a jump up? You're getting Brandon Graham-Brack who's going to help your defense on. And I mean, Derek Barnett as a big player shouldn't kill you guys that bad. You have depth at your defensive line.
That's what you can do. You have waves. And Jordan Davis is a guy that is like a Saragusa type, a big old body in the middle who's going to keep linemen off linebackers so that Nakobe Dean can run around and fly around. Nakobe Dean went to the right team. He did. To the absolute right situation. If he goes to the Giants, we are excited about it, but we don't have the horses up front. Now, I like Dexter Lawrence in the middle. I think he could do well because Nakobe Dean has a lot of talent. I mean, that guy was considered a top 10 pick, and all of a sudden he falls to the third round. You get somebody's in that sauce. Somebody's in that medical history. Like
that's called Howie.
It could have been Howie. Could have been
I'm
Howie.
telling you, dude, what is the odds that he falls that far and we pick him up? Granted, it was a smart move by him, but it could have really bit him in the ass. But somebody could have taken him in the second.
What's the odds that Kayvon Thibodeau drops to number 5 because of things you're starting to hear about him? Maybe Joe Shea threw that out there just to get teams to stay away from him so he can.
These guys aren't dumb, bro. They're not dumb. I mean,
you have to be manipulative sometimes when it comes to the NFL draft, so you can get your guy. You got to throw out those smoke screens.
But he falls all the way to the third, and Howie picks him up, and then after he's like, "No, there's nothing wrong with him." Our
Same
dog.
thing happened to Zito Ojulari.
Think about that. Dude. Think about.
He was a first-round pick.
Hey,
the Giants got him in the second round.
Think about that comment though from Howie. You heard the whole draft that he has an injury, and then we draft him, and after the draft, he's like, "Our doctors looked him over. There's nothing wrong with him." You think about that comment, dude. That's he's telling you everything you need to know. You know what I mean?
It's these Georgia players because it happened last year with Ojulari where he was supposed to be a first-round pick, and all of a sudden you keep hearing these things. Oh, he's got a degenerative knee issue. He's not going to be a guy that's going to last in the league long. You saw him dropping and dropping and dropping. The Giants traded back not once but twice and still were able to get to a position to land him in the second round. And all the guy has done is come in, and I had 8 sacks last year in his rookie season, and now he's swolled up where he's going to be a guy that could potentially be nobody's talking about him as much because you have Leonard Williams, who everybody thinks is going to be great this year, and you have Thibodeau, who's get the hype guy.
No, dude, I think Ojulari doesn't get the respect.
I think Ojulari's going to be great this year.
He's going to be. I think he's going to be another Tuck for you guys, which scares the shit.
Oh God, I love it.
You know what?
Because I fucking hated Justin Tuck, dude. He was.
I thought more along the lines of an OC Manura, but Justin Tuck can do that because he has that same kind of quickness and he forces a lot of fumbles. And so for me, I'm like, Kayvon Thibodeau is different because he's a rare kind of athlete, although he needs to kind of bulk up in the ass region. Not that I'm staring at it, but I'm just saying, he needs a little bit more,
more cushion.
I guess you'd call a little bit more muscle down there because you watch him run around in pads and you're like, what the hell? This guy's got these tiny ass legs running around in here like a fucking chicken. And you're like, you need to hit the NFL weight program, man. Make your pants fill out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought I was watching a high school.
Bro, I know what you're saying, man. Because I used to go to in high school. I went to school with this kid who only worked on his upper body, dude. He was a linebacker. He only worked on his upper body. So when he walked out, he looked like Johnny Bravo, but then he had really small waist and chicken legs. And it was like, yo, that's so funny
All
as
on
shit.
top, nothing on the bottom.
Yeah, dude, he was so Johnny Bravo. It wasn't even funny.
I mean, that's what Kayvon Thibodeau looks like. I'm like, Kayvon, how you can stop the run, bro? You can't even like you're quick, but like, dude, you need to be able to anchor like. You know, you can't do like Ojulari bulked up, and that guy already came in, and they're like, yeah, he's kind of NFL ready. So if he already bulked up, geez, you know what I'm saying? But that's why I think Ojulari is going to be one of the most underrated defenders in this league, in this division, because he had a quiet 8 sacks. He didn't have like a loud 8 sacks. He didn't have,
Nobody
like,
talked about
right?
him.
They're like,
He got Hurts one time, didn't he?
yes,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's not easy to do.
and
Just
he's ferocious when he comes, man. He's a you know, I call those guys lay the lumber. He's that type of player. He's gonna come hit you.
And,
Yeah.
AK, you want to know what one of the reasons why I would be a little bit excited if I'm a Giants fan is the pass rush. It's got potential. If it could develop, the pass rush could be very scary with the Giants, with the guys they have there.
Okay.
Friggin'
Now, that
OJ
was my-
Zimenez is doing something.
That was my question I was just about to ask you guys, because you know you lost Bradbury, you got these good pass rushers, but just because you have good pass rushers don't mean you'll have good pass defense. Because
Oh, absolutely.
So what do you guys think will be your strong suit for your defense? Because your secondary did, as in your opinion, got weaker, but your pass rush got better. But is your run rush, your run stop just as good as your pass rush? Like, can you guys talk about it a little bit?
That's the thing we don't really know yet, is if the run defense is going to be better this year, because last year was an absolute disaster, and it ended up killing this team in terms of, like, you know, being able to rush the passer because they just couldn't stop the run. We were one of the worst teams last year when it came to that. And I noticed that the Giants have brought in a lot of bigger guys so far in the offseason. They brought in Justin Ellis. They just signed Nick Williams, a veteran who played with the Lions recently. I mean, they drafted a couple of young guys like Chris Hinton, who they actually picked up as an undrafted free agent, DJ Davidson. I mean, Dexter Lawrence is going to be playing probably more the nose tackle position. So the Giants have to be able to stop the run, because if you can be able to take out the run of the opposing team, it's going to help out your guys when it comes to the pass rush. But, I mean, if you're a team and you can get the ball out quick, you're going to stymie those pass rushers. You're going to try to put pressure on the linebackers as well as the secondary to be able to come in and make those tackles in the open field, which a bunch of those Giants secondary players, minus maybe like a Julian Love, who's actually a pretty good tackler in the open field, a lot of these guys struggle when it comes to the open field tackling. So an easy way to negate the pass rush is being able to get the ball out quick. But the Giants, we don't know if that run defense is going to be better, but hopefully with the guys that they brought in and with the depth that they have right now, they're going to be able to stop the run and maybe be able to allow those pass rushers to be able to feed against the quarterback.
If you had to go with your gut feeling, though, which one would you pick first? Run or pass?
I go with the run game, because the run game right now is unproven. Wasn't good last year, like Jeff said. Is getting torched right now in practice, which is not good. And then the other thing that I'm worried about is the secondary. And I'm not worried about Adoree Jackson per se or the safeties. I'm worried about the one corner on the other side. People keep saying, "Oh, it'll be fine," but you go up against Aaron Rodgers. He has 4 weeks of film to study you, right? He now finds out your weakness, and he just keeps feeding the ball to that one receiver or that one player on that side because he knows you're the weakest link. And then all of a sudden, what happens? Then maybe play action happens, because now you can't stop the run, so you're now biting on the running game. Right, and of course, Wing Martindale's going to blitz, and what's going to happen? Somebody's going to leap right by you, and it's going to be a touchdown. So The run game is the weakness number one. But if the run game is not stopped, this secondary is going to be torched. Not like McKinney's going to be torched, but like the young guy is going to be torched, because they're going to have to come up and stop the run and do that run support, and they're going to have to bite on that because they're giving up big yardage to running backs, such like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry right now. If I'm Tennessee and NFL Network is on and all these and Twitter's up, and I'm hearing that the Giants getting torched by their offensive line right now on the running game, I'm licking my chops. I'm licking my chops, because I don't care how bad your offensive line is. The easiest thing to do is run block, because all you have to do is say hat on a hat. That's it. Get the guy in front of you and go. The hardest thing is pass blocking. because you have to do more of a dance, more of a finesse, more guys in front of you. Run blocking, you're just going to hit the guy in front of you. So if I'm Derrick Henry, I'm like, yo, I got injured last year. I want to show the league I still got it, that I'm the best back, and Jonathan Taylor can kiss my butt, right? He's going to want to come out there and dominate. And trust me, I worked with the Giants. They have NFL Network going on, and now they have all types of other things going on. They are going to know what the weaknesses of that Giant team is in that defense, and they're going to test it out come 9/11. And they're going to make you say, okay, you don't think that we can still run the ball with Derrick Henry? Well, watch us.
Yeah.
One of the most important players on that New York Giants team this year by far is Adoree Jackson, because his importance to that roster is so big, because if he, God forbid, gets hurt, we're in major trouble with that secondary. Adoree Jackson has to be a guy that cannot get injured. If he gets hurt, we are screwed when it comes to our cornerbacks, because as much as people are praising Darnay Holmes, and I've been one of them, saying the guy is playing a little bit better, he's also been getting torched in practice by receivers too. So he's making interceptions and really nice ones. He's also getting burnt by cornerbacks. Darius Williams hasn't practiced that much because he's still coming off a torn ACL. Aaron Robinson, what is he? We don't know. And then Cordell Flott, he has potential, but he's also a guy that's never played in the NFL yet, and he has to bulk up a little bit more as he's going to get out-muscled and out-physicaled by bigger receivers that are in the league right now. So Adoree Jackson is so important to this team. I would put him as probably a top 5, maybe even top 3 in terms of important Giants this year, because if he goes down, the Giants secondary might be an absolute colossal disaster this year. And I would even say the same thing for the linebacker core. I don't think it's the secondary. I'm scared to death of that inside linebacking core right now, because you're trusting a lot of guys that are either very unproven or very young. And also Blake Martinez, God bless his soul, he's a good player. He's coming off a torn ACL too. Yeah. I'm scared to death that tight ends are going to play against our team. And if they can negate our pass rush and be able to run the ball on us, they're going to have a field day again, because it's like the national thing right now. You're able to pass against the Giants. Tight ends are like, they lick their chops when they play against the New York Giants defense. They're going to be able to have their tight ends leak out and be able to catch the ball and get those big chunk yards against our linebacking core and against our secondary. So that's the thing that scares me the most, is that guys like Adoree Jackson and even a Blake Martinez to a degree, they have to stay healthy, because if they get hurt, our linebacking core, bless you, our linebacking core and our secondary are in major trouble if that run defense and that pass rush can't do the job this year.
Well, and that's the thing, when I look at your defense, because of when you guys say, you got the young CB2 and CB3s, are you guys even going to be able to have your safeties crash in the box, even on the Titans? Because it's like, I get it. Sometimes you're going to want to stop the run, and in certain games you might be able to do it. But dude, it's one of those things, though. I feel because of how your secondary is, even on teams that are going to run against you, you're not going to be able to crash your safeties, because it's like you said, you're toast over top then. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it does put you guys.
Wink Martindale does a lot of blitzing. And that's another reason why I'm worried about this, right? Because God forbid you read the wrong thing, right? I don't think he's going to stop it and adjust. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's too old school. That's what got him fired in Baltimore. I think that's what's going to be his Achilles heel here. He, unlike Patrick Graham, who wanted to blitz as well, but said, you know what, we have to play zone because, injuries and blah, blah, blah. He's going to be like, screw it. This is my defense. Let's go. And and that's why I think against the Titans, we might get burned, because they're going to run the football and they're going to get like 2 to 3 yards a clip, 2 3 yards clip, 2 3 yards clip. Then all of a sudden, game is in a crucial spot. The Titans do a run play. Everybody comes up, stops the run, and they leak somebody right behind and do it. And Tannehill's confident of throwing a ball to a receiver. Let's be honest.
And they have Austin Hooper, too, as their tight end, who's not a bad player as well. Hooper is a pretty decent tight end in the league who could be a mismatch. It could be an issue for the Giants secondary and that linebacking core.
I think people are underestimating the Tennessee Titans and how they run their offense. They're not a deep ball type of team. They're a play action, run, do a slant, take it to the house type team. Look at Robert Woods, okay? Robert Woods is a possession receiver that can run every route in the route tree, right? He's a guy that you want as a running team, because he's going to get open on those little routes that you need, the little rub routes, the little dig routes. A.J. Brown is more of a physical receiver. You got him because he can block, but you want to throw him downfield and get junk balls because that's what he does. Yes, he has the speed to take a slant to the house. I get it. But Robert Woods, when the teams are playing zone, he's the guy that's going to catch the pass underneath, juke, and get the first down. And then you're going to play up on him, and he can also beat you a little bit deeper, right? I think what people need to understand is the Tennessee Titans aren't stupid. They didn't become the best team in the AFC last year because they were dumb. Yeah. And now everyone's like, well, their offensive line. Like, do you really know their offensive line is? Or you're just saying that because you're hearing some of the media say it? Like, unless you're in it to win it. Like, we can talk about the Giants freely, right? As you can talk about the Eagles freely because you're on their websites every day. You're needle to the grind with this team. Are we doing the same thing with Tennessee? Because I know I'm not. I just know what I saw last year, and I know what I've seen in the history of my football knowledge, that teams don't just drop off because you want them to, because you think they will, right? Especially teams that are on the cusp of winning. That team went to the divisional round of the playoffs. We're not talking about this team on the cusp. They just missed the playoffs. They won 8 games. No, they won 12 freaking games, and they were the number 1 seed and arguably the best conference in football.
And they did that without Derrick Henry.
Yes, thank you. They did that without Derrick Henry. He was out for 8 or 9 games, something like that. Mm-hmm. So they figured out a way to do it and still ended up 12-5. And if Derrick Henry were healthy, they'd probably win that football game against Cincinnati. But he was clearly not ready to be back in that game, and Cincinnati knew it, and they took advantage of it. And of course, Ryan Tannehill forces a pass to a couple guys, and it tips up in the air, and the Bengals get it in crucial situations. That's why I don't like Tannehill in tight games. But to tell me, and I don't know if you guys play football, but I know that Mike Vrabel is a good motivator. Mm-hmm. And he's somehow going to have that team ready to go in Nashville in front of their home fans to prove to them, the home fans who are now disappointed and are now questioning you because you just lost to the Cincinnati Bengals. So you got to go out and make a statement. These are the games that good teams circle as we need to win. Not, hey, we can drop this game. No, we need to win this game. The Giants don't need it as much as Tennessee does. And that's what scares me more about Tennessee, because they need the game more than the Giants.
Yeah. No, I feel you, man.
But you always come in looking like you're drunk, man. Like,
If you had to talk to Tyler for a little bit, you're looking the same way.
Oh, you two are always going at each other all the time.
Oh, dude, we love it. Like, we were going through the schedule, and I was like, dude, you got to share that with me. He was like, do you have a Gmail I can send it to? I'm like, bro, I sent you an email from that Gmail anyway. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he shared it with me, and he left. I was like, you're an idiot. But what are you guys talking about now?
None. I was actually pretty much done. I just got on here to kind of talk about certain things with the Eagles, and we kind of had some Eagle and Giant conversation for a little bit, and it's going to be a fascinating year. And wait, is the Hall of Fame game tomorrow night?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, sweet. Well, that's awesome. Can't wait.
Right?
We'll all be right back into it.
No weekends without football, people. We are back.
We are back with the football. Get ready. Strap yourselves in. The NFL season is back. 100%.
Yeah. No, and man, I just wanted to do this live for a little bit because, I get it. I'm not trying to be no Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to.
It's okay, AK. You'll be repping that number 18 Jalen Reagor jersey when the season starts, so it's all good.
What about the white side jersey?
And Mitch will be repping that 96 Derek Barnett jersey when the season starts.
Oh my God! Stop.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but I support my team, but there is only a few players I don't support, and that's Reagor and JJ. They've proven nothing.
You support Barnett?
To a point. I mean, the dude does have 21.5 sacks. I can't.
Got a penalty in camp yesterday.
But hey, maybe something will click someday. I have no idea.
I will say this: if Daniel Jones has a good year this year, I might actually go out and get a Daniel Jones jersey. I might actually go out and do that. No, I only have the last jerseys. The only jerseys I've got, I haven't gotten a jersey in 3 or 4 years because the team sucked. I got a Barkley and a Shepherd jersey a few years ago. How has that worked out for me? It takes a lot for me to actually get a jersey because what players have actually been here long enough to actually get a jersey for?
You're going to get a jersey of a guy who's not going to be here that much longer. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
I never said I was going to.
When you're burning that jersey at the end of the season because he doesn't make it through.
No, I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those fans that decides to burn jerseys just to try to make a statement.
Well, you can send it to me. I'll burn it for you.
The next jersey I'd probably get is going to be an Andrew Thomas jersey because I think that kid is going to be good. So I think the next jersey I might get is 78.
I don't get jerseys because every time I get a jersey of a player, maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should get a Daniel Jones jersey and he'll fail. I got Tiki Barber's autograph. He broke his arm. I got Jason Sehorn's autograph. His knee blew out. I got JVP's autograph. He blows his hands off. I haven't touched nobody.
Get jerseys from players who have already played and retired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Greatness. Like Manning's, Taylor's, Hampton.
Yeah.
You know what?
I have Taylor. I have Toomer. I have Hill. I have Barber. I have Steve Smith. I have guys.
You remember when jerseys were cool to wear back in like the mid 2000s? Everybody was wearing jerseys like, hey man, I got this new jersey. Now nobody wears jerseys.
No, I have a Felipe friggin' Sparks jersey back from when he played in the 90s. Nobody probably even knows who Felipe Sparks is.
You really went to the Christmas well on that one, man.
Yeah.
You must have asked your mom and say, yo, can you give me a Felipe Sparks jersey? Because I wouldn't have taken that. Listen, I even met a Jet player. This is how bad I am. I even met a Jet player and he blew his ankle. I met Aaron Glenn, the safety, the corner for the Jets, at a signing. Because you're young, it doesn't really matter. They're there, and he blows his ankle. I'm like, I am the jinx. I saw Danny Cannell, got him signed. Guess what? Out the league. I am the kiss of death.
Adam, you better stay the hell away from Kayvon Thibodeau.
Note to all Giant fans, keep Adam away from everyone.
Keep Adam away from anybody that might have promising fortunes for the Giants.
Well, then maybe I should go shake Daniel Jones' hand. Maybe something.
Let me ask you guys something. Tyler and I were just talking about this. And I found it to be very interesting. I saw this tweet from Skip Bayless. Who's the GOAT non-quarterback of all time? So who's the greatest player of all time that's not a quarterback?
Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence freaking
LT.
You wouldn't say
that's not
Jerry
even a
Rice,
non. That's not even being
No. You know why? You know why I say LT?
Right
Here's why I tell you LT. Because he redefined the defensive linebacker position. Jerry Rice didn't do anything new. He didn't reinvent the wheel. Okay, they weren't calling timeouts because Jerry Rice went to go get a Gatorade cup. They were calling timeouts because they couldn't find 56 on the field. Okay, they were doing things that he's never done before. The linebackers weren't doing what Lawrence Taylor was doing when they came in. They didn't have edge. We don't have an edge position right now. The edge position, which is really an outside linebacker, without Lawrence Taylor, hands down. Hands down.
I want you guys to see the reply.
Fucker.
What?
Wait, is this?
Why? Because we didn't say Reggie White. We didn't say Reggie White.
Reggie White wasn't even known to be an Eagle that much, man. We only love Reggie White as Eagles because he was an Eagle, but he's more of a packer than a fucking Eagle.
Listen, he did
Reggie White in 1988, bro, had 20 sacks in 11 games. The only reason he didn't shatter your fucking LT record or set it to the point where he'd never fucking reach it again is because our year got cut short that year.
I don't even think they were recording sacks at the time when LT was
it.
He could have had more sacks when even
LT right now if that was a full.
Look at how angry he's getting. We say LT, he's like you biased son of a bitch.
Well, yeah, dude, because you can't discredit that. If he had a 88,
nobody's discrediting about what Reggie White did in the league.
I know Reggie White. I think Jerome Brown would have been one of the best defensive tackles of all time had he not gotten into a car accident. Okay.
And Sean Taylor would have been one of the best. And Sean Taylor probably would have been one of the best safeties.
And Gale Sayers would have been one of the greatest running backs of all time if he didn't get hurt. That's a fact. That guy was scary how good he was.
Yeah.
I mean, we forget Jim Brown, how good he was, too. I mean, only reason I'm not trying to be biased. I give the minister of defense his respect. You know, I do.
Me too.
But what Lawrence did in terms of how the game changed at that position and how he just made the defense greater, that's why I have to say it. I'm not saying Reggie's not Reggie, okay? And technically, you're going to hate me now. I like Bruce Smith better than Reggie White, but that's just me. That's just who I am. It's just a flavor of what I have. Now, I don't even.
Wait, I gotta show you guys the replies here to this tweet. They're gonna make you laugh. Someone said Jerry Rice. I can agree to that. Aaron Donald, no.
Donald he's up there. No, I wouldn't say he's
call him the
about
greatest
some
player
other.
of all time. Come on,
No, he's not the greatest.
Alan Page.
he's good, but
Alan Page is good.
It's like this. It's like when you have the Michael Jordan comment, right? People, Bill Russell could arguably be the best player of all time, right? He won 11
Rest in
championships.
peace, by the way. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
to the great
He
Bill
won 11
Russell.
championships and 13 NBA seasons too as a player coach. You could arguably say
Wait,
that
you said best athlete of all time?
he's the best basketball player of all
Best
time.
basketball
Oh. Okay.
It's a
So I'm saying, like,
generational thing.
Michael Jordan, right, is arguably in my generation the
Barry
greatest
Sanders,
basketball of all time, right?
Randy
Yeah.
Moss.
We could argue it's like that. Who revolutionized the game more in our era? Jordan did. Now,
Someone said this on
Bill Russell changed a lot of things, obviously, but I mean, my brother would kill me.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, he's
Sanders
good.
was
I
one
don't
of
think
those.
he's
He was great.
good. He's great. He's not like the greatest. You asked for the greatest of all time. I gave you the greatest.
Yep.
If you want to go down in categories, Barry Sanders is the greatest running back I ever seen. Okay, greatest running back I ever
That
seen.
is not gonna have a lot of disagreement.
No. How I want to end this show, dude. Seriously, because we've almost came up on an hour and a half here. How I want to end this show is I want the greatest athlete of all time.
Oh,
I could-
Tyler and I have a list coming of that.
I would
Greatest-
argue Dale Sayers was one of the greatest athletes of all time.
I got Bo.
He was
I got Bo
healthy.
Jackson.
Bo Jackson's
All right,
another
we'll go-
one.
So, all right. So you have Bo. You have who? Jeff? Gail?
Dale Sayers.
Who you got, Adam?
I'm gonna go with Michael Jordan.
Are we just
You-
talking football
You're
or are we
tugging
talking
at
sports?
string here. You're tugging at it. Nah, man. The greatest athlete of all time,
I
at
know
least
who you're going with.
who?
Wayne Gretzky.
Dude, he is the ultimate athlete.
You're
No.
right. You're right. I should have went with Gretzky.
In baseball.
That's a great.
No.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good one.
I'm going to tell you this right now. What Wayne Gretzky did in hockey, no one would ever equate in any other sport.
In hockey.
Only,
Okay.
No. Listen to me.
No, he's the greatest ever. Period.
Listen to me. You got to look at what Wayne Gretzky has done in hockey. Hockey is such a helter-skelter sport that if you extrapolated what he did in hockey and put it in other sports, he's light years above anybody else and what he's done. And I'm not saying that to say that. I'm saying that because even the greats like Mario Lemieux and guys like that are like, yo, Wayne Gretzky is the greatest of all time for what he's done. He not only led the NHL in scoring, but the way he scored, how he played the game, the things that he did. Like they said right now, my brother said to me, like, he's like, yo, if Wayne Gretzky could play in a normal sport like basketball, he'd have like 100 points a game, according to what he does in hockey. That's how good of an athlete Wayne Gretzky is. You don't know him because he's Canadian, he's older, right? And he's kind of a quiet guy, he's a reserved guy, right? But like, if he were
People forget about this other guy.
Bro, no lie. You could throw Wayne Gretzky in today, and he's at his age then. Like, dude, he fits in any time era. That's how good he was.
Exactly. That's what LT
I was
does.
about to say.
Yeah, like
Wilt Chamberlain. Are you serious? The guy did volleyball and track and basketball.
Yes, but if you extrapolate what Wayne Gretzky did on skates, right? He's not on his feet. He's on skates. He's on a surface, by the way, that moves. Okay, the floor doesn't move. The ice melts. It melts all year, and to do that on skates and what he did in an era of brutality, right? I mean, think about it. I mean, I guess people don't
violent, and hockey was much more violent back then too, Adam.
Right.
You always gotta give credit to
If
hockey
Wayne
players.
Gretzky is in this era of hockey, oh my God, we wouldn't be talking about Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin. We'd be talking about Wayne Gretzky all day, every day, because he'd be killing it. What he did, I'm telling you, I'm not a huge hockey guy, but I know my stuff when it comes to greatness and athletes, right? And if you look at what he's done stat-wise,
Exactly. Look at that. If rap was hockey, it'd be Wayne Gretzky.
That's right.
exactly.
Dude, he's the ultimate guy. I mean, he
But people
truly
don't
is.
want to talk about it because it's the NHL, right? Because
Nobody cares
it's
about the
hockey.
NHL. So, but yeah, it's 100% true. Hockey players, they're
LaDainian
arguably
Tomlinson.
they're the best athletes when it comes down to every single sport because of the fact that they have to learn how to skate on ice while it's melting. And then you saw anybody that got to see Wayne Gretzky play hockey, you're blessed. That guy
Speedy,
was
that's interesting.
something different. I mean, he played for the Rangers for a little bit, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes. He
He
hired a Ranger, if I'm correct, right?
he came in the year after they won the cup. They won the cup in '94. He came in '95 to try to play with Messier and rekindle that Edmonton Oilers thing. What did you just say?
Yarmer Yager was another
Did
guy.
you just
that
say you were
was
born
good
in
too.
'95?
I was born in '94.
Oh my God!
That's
why you don't. That's why you don't know sports, because you don't want to research anything after
Wow.
1994. You just pop out and sports began when Mitchell was born.
Another guy that was really good too was Yarmer Yager. That guy was
Yes.
another.
Oh,
really,
snap,
really
yo.
great
I love
player.
Yager.
Yager was
Yager's
awesome
good.
for years. He
I
was a
love Yager,
Rangers.
man. He played
was a
until like
Rangers
Tom Brady's
phenomenal.
age, 45. You know, he was old. He got
Yeah.
the old man.
He was still pretty good
just
at
for
his
men,
age.
He
cut a
can still
beard.
play.
Yeah, no, dude. I'm trying to think of, oh shit, what's his name? The goalie for the Flyers back in the day. He's now the manager of the
Ron
Penguins.
Hextall.
Hextall. Dude, honestly, Hextall is my favorite goalie of all time.
Brodeur, and I'm not even trying to be a biased Devils fan. Brodeur was great.
Dominic
No, I liked Hextall because he was not afraid to
Classic
knock
was
you the fuck
good.
out.
You know who's
No,
good?
I just like that he knocked everyone out. He's the only undefeated goalie ever in the NHL. I mean,
I also
You know
like
who's
Patrick
good?
Waugh. Patrick
Patrick
Waugh.
Waugh.
His
I
name
like
is-
Mike Richter.
Yeah.
Mike Richter was good too.
I
yep.
think Rick was good. I think he was overrated.
The goalie from the Russia team in the Olympics.
What, in 1980?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
The greatest Rangers
You weren't even
goalie
born.
was Henrik
Trust me, I've
Lundqvist.
done my reresearch on him. There's my
I
dad
just
told me all
Googled
this
it.
stuff about him.
You just Googled him.
Yes, you did. We saw your eyes moving.
There,
Saw your
I
hands typing.
Google.
I heard
Bro,
it.
you know how many times I watched that movie?
What?
No, I'm
man?
not doing anything. Type.
Miracle?
Yeah.
That's arguably one of the best sports movies of all time. Miracle.
Oh yeah, that you'll never. That is absolutely true.
You know
I
what?
would say
That-
Lundqvist is
there's
one of the
so
great
many good
goalies.
One of the
sports
greatest
movies out
calls.
there.
I don't know, man. The second Mighty Ducks, when they were Team USA, hit pretty strong too.
Oh, shit.
The
Ducks flying
second Mighty
together.
Ducks was good.
And
Over Miracle? Over Miracle. No, wait, that was 3. No, wait.
Listen.
oh, it was
Our
two.
era,
Three
Mighty
was,
Ducks
college.
2 is our
Three.
miracle, okay?
Right? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, dude.
He's
Don't
right.
argue
You
Mighty
know,
Ducks
the
with me.
90s.
Hey, you can't argue Mighty Ducks with me. I was born in '88. You were in '95. Shut up.
I was born in
You were
84.
born in
Mighty
the
Ducks
80s?
was our shit. I was
Yeah.
10 years old when the movie was coming out, man. And then the
Mitch.
third one, when they go to LA and get a knuckle puck. What is that? Give me a break. You know, find that little street baller playing
Ross
hockey.
Tyler.
Really?
Ross
You
Tyler.
gotta love Keenan.
Watch
Break.
out, boys! It's knuckle puck time.
You know why? Because
gotta
they got
love
bought by
Keenan, bro.
Disney, and of
Gotta
course
love
Disney
Keenan
needed to
Thompson.
magically magic it up. You know what I'm saying? They
And
got-
dude, you know what? Here's one. Goldberg is the best hockey goalie of all time.
That's right.
There you go.
Goldberg. Nobody can stop Goldberg when it comes to being the best goalie out there. Julie the Cat Gaffney. Don't forget
Oh,
about Julie
yeah,
the
I
Cat
was about to ask, was that her name? Daphne?
Gaffney. Julie
Yeah.
the Cat Gaffney.
Yeah. She was pretty badass too, man.
Goldberg scored the winning goal against the when they were in high school, and he
Yeah.
scored the winning goal against the varsity team that won
Yo,
the
man.
game.
I always get mad when that guy lassos the kid on the ice. I'm like, yo,
Oh,
like, what?
Robertson, Dwayne
Like, what?
Robertson.
Are you kidding me right now?
Hey, you know what? Brings up a fair question down here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, dude, but
No, go ahead.
you guys want to ask why isn't Tom Brady getting suspended for colluding with the Dolphins? The NFL is obviously a league based on truth and justice, so I'm confused on that.
Because he's Tom Brady.
Oh, boy.
How many scandals has he been there? He had fucking Deflategate. His ass didn't get nothing. Okay? He was
Spygate?
Huh?
Spygate?
Five Gates is Spygate, yeah, Deflategate.
You know what I mean? Like Tom Brady has nude photos of Roger Goodell. Okay? He does. And he's like, Roger, I will put these out here if you
Roger
do
that.
anything to me. And Roger's like, no, Tom, it was one bad moment. He's like, listen, I'm Tom Brady, and that's how things are going to go. I mean, look what Tom Brady does, right? Outside of LeBron James, he's the only other athlete that kind of can control what a franchise is doing. Okay. Now, he doesn't go about it the same way as LeBron James does, as a crybaby and a little spoiled brat, you know, and a guy that I would beat up in an alleyway if I saw, even though he's 6'8", because you know he gets cramps in San Antonio, and oh my God, give me a break. Okay, that was the dumbest thing I ever heard an athlete ever say. They're both playing in the Heat, you moron. You're going to San Antonio. You're not going to Milwaukee, you idiot. Anywho, my point is, Tom Brady.
I love when Adam gets pissed off.
I
It's so
know.
awesome to listen to. I love when he gets pissed off.
Dude, that's why he's in hardcore, man. I love his energy. It's hardcore.
Daniel Jones throws like 2 picks in the game. Adam's like, what the fuck is this bums in this game? I'm getting the hell out right now.
Oh,
Please,
Adam.
Taylor.
Adam, you are so doing giant play-by-plays this year.
He won't do it. He won't do it.
Come on, dog. You got to show the emotion, man. I need to see it.
Big, the problem that will happen is the stream will be over halfway through because I will have thrown the computer across the room. It'll be play by play, and then all of a sudden radio silence because what happened? You know.
Oh, I'll tell you what though. That's your 10 seconds of fame right there, bro. That shit will blow up, and you'll be famous like a mother.
You want to be honest, AK? If you put the premium takes guys during a live game, you might you're gonna get stuff that's gonna go viral because every single one of us is gonna friggin' explode on screen.
That's what I want.
All explode on screen.
Do it.
Listen, you're not going to see head explode. You're going to see a screen break. You're going to see. Okay, if you see my face now, right?
Yeah.
See it? You see it? Yeah. It will be behind a broken glass screen. It will be shattered, right? The camera will be broken in different places. You'll be like, I'll be trying to talk to you like this because I can't see myself because the camera will have been broken.
Well, listen, bro, that shit will go so viral. You'll be able to buy 7 laptops and break them at one time.
You're right. They're going to want to see it.
People love that stuff. They love when people start losing their shit.
Listen, when I was younger, I used to break a lot of things. Now I'm a little tamer, but there's always one loss where if you're not careful, there's been times I've ripped posters off the wall, I've broken other people's shit, I've just remotes have been thrown, you know, I've done it.
Don't break the ball. Whatever you do, don't break.
Philly 500.
Listen, I have a man cave that will come down if provoked. If provoked, I will rip posters. There's a neon sign in there. I don't do my show from there now because it's hot as fucking balls out there. It's like South Africa times 10 in the fucking shed, okay? You know, your balls just melt in there, so I can't do it. But come the fall, you're going to see that neon sign. If that neon sign is not there anymore, it's because the Giants had a bad day. And I was angry, and boom.
When the Eagles were... This is what 500 told me. You can't find it now because it's streamed. You guys know what happened. But it was 4th and 26. He got so mad at that game, he punched a hole through his couch.
Through his what?
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about that. He punched a hole through his couch because he was so pissed.
His couch?
Yeah,
his couch. Yeah.
That's fucking anger, man. Holy shit.
That's awesome.
That's like Kano style. You're ripping a heart out.
I need that.
No, dude. He slipped the couch before he turned his camera on. I bet you, just so it looked like.
Here's the problem. If you really want to get me on camera, put a little baby monitor on, and you can watch everything that goes on. You can even put on the volume because there are some choice words in there that I will say to some motherfuckers when they screw up. Because I don't have the filter. No,
not the only one.
Trust me. My girlfriend gets mad because I'm so loud. She's like, how are you so loud? You're going to wake the baby up. I'm saying, the baby needs to be woken up. That's how angry I am. You know?
I've done it too. When that last game last year against Washington, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was about to throw something. I was that pissed off.
No, the last game against the Eagles or against Washington, I was laughing. I was at Great Wolf Lodge trying to watch this game.
No, I mean the second game of the season, the second game of the year. That one was that was the ultimate piss your fan base off game. when we lost
No,
that game.
I
against
was
Washington
more
in
heartbroken
Washington.
at that than I was angry. I was like, oh shit.
I
You know what I mean?
I was pissed. I was pissed.
The game that got me
entire
really
night.
angry, you should have seen me after 3rd and 9. I was melting down the entire Hamilton. I was like, you got to be people are on the street. Look, you know, it's all good. It's what he was doing. I'm like, you're playing a punt? Oh, it was the right thing to do there. I was like, the right thing to do? The right thing to do? They're like,
What's
yeah,
the right
you
thing
know.
to do,
I'm like, what idiot coach does a quarterback sneak inside his own end zone, and that's a good play call? That, you know what? We understand.
I'll tell you that idiot, that coach that does that, Joe freaking Judge. That's who does that.
Every fan base, every guy in the fan base, content creation called me an idiot. They're like, oh, well, you know, they was trying to do that. I'm like, what football game were you watching? What football game? He's smart. Don't worry. He changed the Keurig machines. Okay. I went off.
He was really smart last year. Did a lot of smart moves
And now
last
he
year.
was like a
All he
genius.
did was talk about
And people
watching
are
the
like,
tape.
oh, hey, Adam, you know, you're too angry. We don't like you because you're brrr. We can't give you credit because you're brrr into the microphone all the time.
Now, this is the problem with the NFL fan bases nowadays. Is
They're
everybody
soft.
wants sunshines and rainbows. They want happy things. They want everybody to be positive. This is the NFL. You have to be able to be honest and be able to critique when it's necessary. That's how you
Well, I'm
become
not
a respected
afraid
person.
to be
I
honest.
don't care. I'll
That's the
say
problem.
it too.
That's the problem, is that we want to hype everybody up. We're supposed to be high-fiving Daniel Jones. Fuck that. If he makes a mistake, I'm going to criticize him, just like I get criticized at work for making a mistake.
Mhm.
You are on the
It's a
biggest platform
results-oriented-
there is. The football, and this is why I love football the most. It is a microcosm of life. Okay, it is a microcosm of what happens in everyday life, right? You get evaluated at your job, you get evaluated here, right? The only difference is nobody's throwing popcorn or criticizing you because you messed up on whatever assignment you messed up on. They're all like, "Oh man, run him out of town." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't do it because it doesn't play out on TV. But if you think about it, you have a teammate that you need to work with, people you may not like, things that may happen, adversity, whether that's in the season or in your life. You know, it's just a microcosm in a 3-hour vacuum of why. That's why I love football so much, because it's the only game, maybe besides hockey, where you can just live on that adrenaline. Like for me, I've been to basketball games, I've been to hockey. It's fun. I get excited, but nothing gets the blood flowing more than walking into a stadium, just jaw jacking the other team's fan base.
Right.
If you're walking in saying, "Yeah, you're going to be on the end of my," you know what I mean, and getting juiced up. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. You can talk shit to net fans, the basketball fans. High five. We're gonna have beers, kumbaya. No, we are gonna fight at the end of the game. That's what we're gonna do. Fight. I had a pregnant girlfriend walk up the stairs, watch me as she came from the bathroom, get surrounded by Eagle fans because I did not stop talking shit. And they were all going to kick my ass. And thankfully she showed up when she did, because my neck would have been out of here.
It would have been no AC anymore
I
if
walked
that ended
in.
up going down what it could have been.
She literally walked in and they're like, "Oh, this is your girlfriend?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Okay." I'm like, "Thank you, Lord." Thank you, Lord, because I was writing checks that I couldn't cash, but hell, I was going bankrupt that day. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? If I was going down, I was going to be bankrupt.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. That definitely. I do not recommend you do that. Like,
No.
Listen, they started with me. I was just yelling at the team. These motherfuckers started turning around and yelling at me. Once you do that, it's fair game. Okay, it's on. Now,
Fair
I
enough.
don't care if you have 7 of you. I will talk until I die. You better knock my tongue out, because I'm gonna be like, "You, that's all you got." You know what I mean? As they're pummeling my face in. You know what I mean?
well, listen, guys.
It takes 7 of you to beat one Giant fan. You know what I mean? Like that's how it would have went down. And I'm sorry if you get in trouble. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool, man. It is what it is, and we
That's
like.
who I am. You know what I mean?
No, it's fine. And
Is that a convincing way to get you on the stream now for the games?
No.
oh,
No.
come on.
I'll do it.
I will think about it, only because I'm a guy who likes to enjoy the game and not be interrupted. But I do like calling the game. I always told myself, if I was going to call a game, I'd be on HBO so I can drop some F-bombs, right? Because you can't be on network TV, because on network TV, you know, Tony Romo's there like, I'm like, "Yo, Tony, you really want to say that motherfucker's an idiot?" You know what I mean? That's what you really want to say. That idiot threw to the other team. he's a dumbass. That's what you want to say. But instead he's like, well, the receiver maybe ran the wrong route. No, motherfucker, he's dumb. He threw it right to the other team. There's nobody in the vicinity. You don't need to sugarcoat that shit. Say it was a dumb decision, motherfucker, and move on.
I kind of wish they actually say that sometimes on the live broadcast. They would actually be honest and say something like that. But
I would love that, dude. I would love
it.
How many times you're sitting there watching a broadcast, whoever your favorite broadcaster is, and they say something so tight ass, and you're like, no, motherfucker, that just is bad. You know what I mean?
Decision.
Dude, how many times do you catch yourself in the middle of your own games after a play, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Exactly.
All the time.
And
then
then
go to the friggin' defensive line against Tampa Bay that one time.
Oh,
what the
my
hell
God.
are you doing? Why are you throwing it to the defensive line?
That's what I said.
What
That's
are you
what I wanted. And they were on Monday Night Football, and they're like, and even on Monday Night Football, I loved it because I think Brian Greasy goes, what was he throwing it to? And I'm like, thank you, Brian. Thank you. I'm like, you did this guy's like looking over here like, like, oh, let me go. I just wanted to walk through the screen, walk down to Tampa Bay, smack Daniel Jones in the face, and walk the fuck out. That's what I wanted to do. If I were Joe Judge, that's what I would have done. I would have smacked his nose and Adam's apple right out of his face. Ah!
Like, dude, I know that Cardinals game with Kyler Murray, the playoff game where he threw the interception in the end zone just by doing a little flick. I know that. I forget who the hell was calling that game, but I guarantee even he wanted to be like, what the hell was that?
Yes, even hell. Yeah, like sometimes I'm like, don't be PC. Sometimes. Like that's why I love like WWE's announcing, even though it's stupid. It's like sometimes they'll actually say like what you're thinking, like, yes, right, that was ridiculous.
I love Pat McAfee,
bro. Holy crap.
Pat McAfee.
I love that guy. JR was great too because JR, even though he's reading a script, he got you so fired up. You're like, oh my God, I'm feeling it because he's like, oh my God, Stone Cold. You're like, listen, old man, you're gonna have an aneurysm on fucking TV, but I love it. I freaking love it. Now you got like Al Michaels who will say some snarky comment, and you're just like, Al, man, you're just
the blandest of bland people ever, and that's Chris Collinsworth. Who like he puts you to sleep.
I'm gonna ruin your Chris Collinsworth experience right now. That guy has the biggest Adam's apple in the world. Go check it out. So when he's talking to you,
and his son too.
When he's talking to you on NBC, I'm telling you, AK, you look at me now. But when he has that game tomorrow on NBC, and you're watching that thing flap in the wind, that big Adam's apple bounce up and down. You're like, oh, I never noticed it before. Disgusting.
I swear to God, he puts me to sleep when he talks. It's like every time he speaks, I want to just like put it on mute because I'll fall asleep during the game. He's so boring. He's got like no charisma at all.
It's like when you get a bad caller in like WFAN and you just want to just hang up on them, and they're like, well, like, come on, let's get on with your point here.
No, definitely, man. Like, I would rather have
that was a great play by so and so. He did a great job over there. Like, shut the hell up and just call it.
No, you know why, man? Give me some young dudes in there, man. That like whenever somebody hits somebody with a big play, they're like, "Holy shit, what a hit!"
Did you see that truck stick? That was truck stick, baby.
I actually like Kevin Burkhardt. I think he's one of the better young announcers that are coming out.
Yeah, but even Kevin Burkhardt, sometimes you just want a fan to be like, "Look at what he did to that mother. He just ate that motherfucking flesh. Yeah, eat that 50-something or other." You know what I mean? That's what I would.
You don't have those
you can't have me on. I'll gladly announce another game, but the Giant game may not be. The only reason the Giant game will be good is because of how the range of emotions that I go through. The roller coaster ride, especially because Daniel Jones, like, put it this way. If Daniel Jones gets the ball with 2 minutes to go and they're down by like 5 points, you're going to see me on that baby camera on my knees praying to the heavens that he doesn't fuck it up. Like, please, just get us downfield and score. I even tell God I'll go to church on Sunday, and he knows that's a lie. But I do whatever I got to do, to get that win, right? And then you see Daniel Jones, and he messes it up, and it just takes the fight right out of you. And then I can't even watch the second game because I'm just like, oh.
It depresses you. You've watched some of those games, and like
Daniel Jones gives me agita. He gives me heartburn. Okay, he makes me not want to watch football.
It's a lot of players on that team that give me
one because of his ginormous nose. 2 because of his ginormous Adam's apple. By the way, his nose is crooked. All right, I don't know if that's just a life thing or a broken nose thing, but I can't stare at his face because it's crooked. So, and not gonna lie to you, I don't know another player in the history of the NFL who said so many times in an interview.
does say that a lot.
I'm telling you, I probably could have been drunk after the first 30 seconds because he's like, well, we passed the football, and we do this. I'm like, get to the point. Go to public speaking class, you dumb mother. You went to Duke. And you can't even speak a sentence without using Are you kidding me? Are you?
Look what happened. Now we got the websites coming in here.
Oh, shoot.
The websites have arrived
Yeah,
into the chat now.
we're moving back up.
Yeah.
God.
There's a lot of people on this team that give me agita. Daniel Jones is one of them.
Well, listen, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you coming on and joining me here and talking some football. It's always fun talking with you guys.
I just got aggravated now, and I don't even know why. It's just thinking about the season when it comes. Just
heard
giving
Daniel
me.
Jones.
Way to go, AK. You ruined his day.
Hey,
Damn it, AK.
Daniel Jones is like a bad stomach ache you can't shake. You know what I mean? You take some Tums or something, it sequesters the problem for a little bit, but it always comes back in the end.
No.
That was Nate Solder and Will Hernandez last year. Those two guys just drove me up a flat. Those two guys were just annoying as hell to watch last year. That offensive line was just annoying to hell to watch. But watching Will Hernandez and Nate Solder actually try to block somebody, it was just. You might as well put put two poles in the right side of that offensive line. They would have done a better job blocking than what Nate Solder and Will Hernandez did last year. It was horrendous.
Thank you, Normal. Yeah, no,
They
man.
put two turnstiles there. They would have done a better job blocking than those two guys.
I really hope you guys have a better offensive line this year, just for your sake.
It can't get any worse.
Yeah,
You don't have Billy Price there anymore. How many times did Billy Price miss a block in the middle of the center of that offensive line that actually blew up some potential offensive plays there? The one time Darius Slayton actually gets wide open, can't have it. Billy Price let somebody go right up the middle for a sack. That was our offensive line. I know Daniel Jones sucked last year, but our offensive line at times, it was laughable how bad they were last year, how they played. It was laughable.
Didn't Nate Soldier have like a 5% block rate? Like,
got turned around backwards on a block. He's like a GIF now. Okay, his block is a GIF. That's how bad he is.
Dancing. He was dancing in some of his blocks. He was so bad. Hernandez was just as bad. If you watched the center to the right side of that offensive line for the Giants last year, you would have been laughing your ass off how bad they were blocking. From Billy Price to Will Hernandez and Nate Solder. Oh, my God. And then when Andrew Thomas wasn't out there and he missed games due to injury and Matt friggin' Parrott was out there blocking at left tackle, oh, my God. It was sad watching this team block at times. I was wanting to cry watching this team. That's how bad it was. I was crying during some of those games. It was that pathetic.
That seems like a personal problem because I was watching.
Well, listen, I'm sorry.
It was anger and just.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. You know. But no, listen, man, I appreciate you guys coming on. Shout out to the 8 people still in here. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe. On the road to 1K, sub up everyone that's on this channel. We're all hardcore sports here. Sub up hardcore sports as well. We're on a road to 1K there. But yeah, man, I appreciate each and every one of you coming on and talking. You guys make it fun for real. So appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us on, man. Anytime.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody, it is Wednesday. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I will be back Friday night at 9 p.m. with Boys for Life on 2 Beast, 1 East. And yeah, until next time, peace out. Fly Eagles fly. Everyone be safe. Later.
Let's go, New York Football Giants.